People who dedicate their lives to inventing something face a lot of difficulties than we think. We have Einstein and Edison's examples, who failed multiple times before succeeding in what they were developing. But not all experiments have to be as tiring and disappointing as not being able to light a bulb 1,000 times. Like every other thing on this planet, food was also invented and has evolved from time to time. New dishes and ingredients are being invented and researched every day, sometimes out of apathy and sometimes out of sheer luck. But did you know some of the foods that were invented for a different purpose? Well, if you don't, you are in luck, because in this video, we recount the 10 foods that were invented entirely for another purpose. But before we begin, kindly subscribe to our channel for more of our amazing content. Please give us a like, share the video, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell for timely updates of our latest uploads. Let's get it on! 1. Yogurt. The invention of yogurt is pretty much unknown, but historians have imagined that yogurt was first invented around 5000 BC in Mesopotamia. This was a period when milk-producing animals were domesticated. Since milk products could be produced at homes that owned such animals, the milk could be shared between families and friends. But how did they transport the milk? This is where things get interesting. The milk would have been transported in bags made from the stomachs of animals. Historians believe that the milk would begin to coagulate in the bags due to the number of bacteria and acidity. Not the best image for yogurt lovers, right? At least the big yogurt companies today aren't using this method. So, that's the theory of how yogurt came to be. Ancient Indian records call yogurt the food of the gods. Maybe that's because they would put milk in a bag, and if you left it long enough, it would divinely become something different. Whatever the reason, and however this yummy food really was invented, this is a good story that seems to make a lot of sense. 2. Coca-Cola. America's favorite soft drink started out as anything but soft. Coca-Cola's original purpose was to combat anxiety, headaches, and drug dependence. John Pemberton, a pharmacist and Confederate veteran suffering from morphine addiction, invented the primordial Coca-Cola in the late 19th century. He named the drink Pemberton's French wine coca, and it started out as a sweetened alcohol beverage infused with coca leaves. As it grew as a brand, Coca-Cola was gradually honed with its carbonation and non-narcotic sweeteners to give the world its most famous soda. 3. Corn Flakes. In 1898, W.K. Kellogg and his brother Dr. John Harvey Kellogg were making what is now considered granola treats for patients at a sanitarium as part of a vegetarian diet. The pair accidentally left wheat berry cooking in the kitchen, which caused the kernels to flake, according to the Kellogg's company. They continued experimenting with cooking different grains until they happened upon corn, which puffed up to a crunchy, tawny flake. W.K. Kellogg founded the Battle Creek Toasted Corn Flake Company, the precursor to Kellogg's Box the cereal, and began selling the breakfast food as a healthy alternative to a traditional morning meal, according to the company. 4. 7-Up drink. In the first half of the 20th century, Charles Leeper Grigg developed 2 orange drinks. However, those drinks did not perform well compared to Orange Crush, a market leader at that time. He decided to shift his focus and started working on lemon-lime flavors. He invented a new drink called Bib Label Lithia Ted Lemon Lime Sodas in October 1929. Initially, the formula of the drink contained lithium citrate that was used in various patent medicines for improving moods. It was also used for treatment of manic depression. While launching the product, Charles marketed the product as having effects on mood. As the drink was introduced at the time of the stock market crash of 1929 and at the beginning of the Great Depression, this was a selling point. In 1936, this drink was renamed 7-Up. The government banned the use of lithium citrate in soft drinks in 1948. The company was then forced to remove this mood-stabilizing drug from its formula. 5. Graham crackers. If you're a sweet tooth, then you know the drill. Throw in some chocolate and roasted marshmallows with these bad boys for that ooey gooey scrumptious fix. But did you know that the OG graham cracker was invented to discourage people from masturbating? In the early 1800s, a Presbyterian minister named Sylvester Graham, who was a staunch advocate of sexual abstinence, invented the Graham diet, which consisted of fruits, vegetables, and bland starches, which he believed could significantly tone down a person's lustful thoughts. The original recipe for the graham cracker involved unbleached flour, bran, and wheat germ, basically not as flavorful as how they are made now. Imagine pie crust tasting like cardboard. The recipe has been modified throughout the years, turning it into the mildly sweet and crunchy cookie that it is now. 6. Cheese puffs. I bet you're watching this video right now while munching on some deliciously crunchy cheese puffs. And who can blame you? These puffy orange-colored curls are perfect. But cheese puffs were actually a product of a fortunate accident, which happened in an animal feeds factory. Long story short, you're feasting on a repurposed cow feed. See, in the early 1930s, a Wisconsin animal feeds manufacturer named Flackhall Corporation tested out a way to prevent their corn grinder from getting clogged. The strategy was to moisten the corn first before putting them into the grinder. But instead of flaking out, the corn exited the grinder all puffed up, just like popcorn, minus the kernels. One of the employees then decided to take some of the corn puffs home and season them up. First, cheese puffs known as corn curls was born, which eventually changed the snacking game. 7. Brandy. If this liquor is your poison of choice, then you can raise your glass to Dutch wine exporters, who accidentally invented the brandy as we know it now. In the 16th century, in the hopes of transporting as much wine as possible through their small cargo ships, some Dutch shipmasters thought of distilling the wine to remove their water content and later on just add water back in once the wine barrels reached their destination. Unfortunately, the primitive distillation process ended up burning the wine. In an attempt to make the best out of an unfortunate situation, the Dutch rebranded the liquor and called it Brandywine, which literally means burnt wine. The newly invented spirit became a huge hit, and the slightly sweet and fruity liquor has become one of the most enduring hard drinks, whether served on the rocks or as a base for your favorite cocktails. 8. Potato chips. No one would guess that these golden paper-thin bites of heaven were originally made to get back at a demanding customer. One day, in 1853, a chef named George Crumb, who worked at the Moon Lake Lodge Resort in Saratoga Springs, served a customer from hell who complained of their French fries being too thick. To appease the annoying Karen, Crumb made a thinner batch of fries, which the fussy diner once again refused to eat. In an attempt to sabotage the diner's order, Crumb decided to cut his fries paper thin and too crispy to eat with a fork. The patron actually enjoyed the dish, and Crumb realized he might have just cooked up a potentially hot commodity. The dish was eventually called Saratoga Chips and became popular in restaurants across the East Coast. 9. Dr. Pepper. In 1885, in Waco, Texas, a young Brooklyn-born pharmacist named Charles Alderton invented a new soft drink that would soon become known as Dr. Pepper. The carbonated beverage was marketed as having a unique flavor all its own. More than 130 years later, the brand can still be found on shelves and in refrigerated store coolers worldwide. Alderton worked at Morrison's Old Corner Drugstore in Waco, Texas, where carbonated drinks were served at the soda fountain. While there, he began experimenting with his own soft drink recipes. One in particular was fast becoming a big hit with customers, who originally ordered the concoction by asking Alderton to shoot them a Waco. 10. Chewing gum. People have enjoyed gum since long before bubble yum or Big League Chew came around. Our Neolithic ancestors chewed on gum made from birch bark tar. Other cultures such as the ancient Greeks and American Indians also chewed gum-like substances made from resins and other residues from trees, grasses, and other plants. Paraffin was another popular gum base, though it couldn't be chewed until heated and moistened in the mouth. Modern chewing gum dates from the 1860s when a substance called chicle was developed. Chicle was originally imported from Mexico as a rubber substitute. It was tapped from a tropical evergreen tree named Manucara chicle, in the same way that latex is tapped from a rubber tree. Chicle gum became more popular than gums made from resins because it was smoother, softer, and held its flavor longer. Now, most gums are made from synthetic bases because they are cheaper and more readily available. Did you enjoy our video? Which are some of the foods featured in our list that you frequently take? Well, if you enjoyed our video, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more of our amazing content. Please give us a like, share the video, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell for timely updates of our latest uploads. We value your feedback. Feel free to share your thoughts with us in the comment section below.